Show.
I must dig my dig in the mashed potatoes. Go Hog.
This is a team sport. It's not a talent-based sport.
We got Bobby fucking Petrino back. If I'm honest with myself right now, it's a cool 12-0. Oh, look at that tornado. Welcome, everybody, to the College Football Tailgate Big Show, our bowl episode. We be the first to say Happy New Year's to you. You might notice XFL Jim is missing. He is cruising.
Ooh. Oh, yes.
In his place. I will be hosting today. Who am I? I'm your host, Chase Sessoms, the Wolf of Oakland. I don't know why that felt appropriate, but joining me, the man, the myth, the uncle, our betting guru, Uncle Rico. What's up, Unc?
Nothing much, man. What's up with you, dude?
Not a ton. It's looking forward to a good day of football. Just kind of doing my handicapping thing. I understand you went to the Michigan State game last night.
Yep. Went to the state game. Great to be back in East Lansing. Go around the old place I spent too much time as a youth. Breslin Center was rocking. Great atmosphere. Fun times. And, they won. Didn't cover.
Yeah.
But that's okay. But they won. So.
Then you and Magic Johnson took his jet to AC and shot craps for a couple hours before coming back to do the show.
Oh my God. Yep. Went so little soaring eagle. It's pretty cool. Like Steve Smith, favorite basketball player of all time. He was there, was able randomly ran into him. It's the one cool thing about state is there's a lot of those guys still live in the Detroit area. So they always come up there for the games and everything. Right. Childhood idol, Steve Smith, talked to him a little bit, which was fun. So yeah, it was a good time. And now I'm ready for a full day of collegiate football.
Well, speaking of the state of Michigan, let's talk about the other team in Michigan because they are taking on at 11 o'clock God's time, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama laying 15.5 here. Michigan plus 575 on the money line. Total set at 44.5. I'll be honest, I don't form an opinion on these bowl games until I hear from Uncle Rico who's playing and who's not. So take it away, Unc.
Well, Kazul is going to be calling plays for Michigan. He's never called plays from what I was able to find. How is this offense going to look? Milrose is rumored to play. Milroe is rumored to play. Now, there's all these rumors going around that he's actually going to be Notre Dame's quarterback next year. Is he going to pull a Cam Ward? Is he only going to play a half? What is the motivation of both teams? Michigan just had their Super Bowl beating Ohio State, coming you know what I mean? Like, what is their mental wise? What is their motivation? They've had some key players on the defensive side opt out. If I'm going to do anything here, DeBoer has been so good with the scripted portion of the plays. I look to Alabama first quarter, but the first quarter line is 4. So basically, what are you playing for there? An Alabama touchdown, and then Michigan not to be able to score. A little too juicy for me with that 4. So I'm not doing anything here, man.
I hate the Lakers 99 agrees with you with the early play. He's looking at Michigan to cover for the first half, whereas you were looking at Michigan in the first quarter. If I was to do anything, sorry, Alabama first quarter. Yeah. If I were to do anything here, I'm probably going to lay off this game, but I would maybe look at the under. Like we said, we don't know how long Jalen Milroe will be playing, if he's playing at all. You got different play callers. It seems like a prescription for a recipe for an under, but we both kind of want to avoid moving on. The 1 o'clock game, Louisville, Washington. Washington right now a 1-point favorite. Louisville minus 105 on the money line. Total set at 49.5. I know the ACC has been disappointing, but is there a glimmer of hope that they get a win with Louisville here?
Well, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Every year there's that conference that just looks goddamn brutal. And this year it's the ACC. The main thing for them is their quarterback. He is not playing. Lacey is sitting out so that way he can maintain the red shirt going into next year, which is obviously going to hurt Louisville's offensive flow. Are they going to be able to produce? This Washington offensive line has been brutal. Coleman, Washington's star running back, he is not playing. And their best offensive lineman, Toffoli, he is not playing as well. So this is another one of those games, like, how are they going to move the ball? It's just, I'm not going to lie, finding bets in the college football slate today that I actually liked were very tough for me.
That's fair. That's fair. If I lean anyway in this, I go with Louisville. Not something I want to touch though with the quarterback situation. So we are moving on, and we are moving on to which I think will be a pretty good game. We've got South Carolina laying 9.5, taking on the Fighting Berts of the state of Burtnoy, the Fighting Illini. They are plus 300 on the money line. Total set at 49.5. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think that this game is going to get birded all over the place, and that means that they get the lead in the first half and they still somehow lose this game. So I'm looking at playing this game the first quarter, second quarter, and first half money lines for Illinois, which are all plus money here. What are you thinking for this game?
I had no clue. Like, what is there's two ways to look at this. Is South Carolina going to come out with a chip on their shoulder saying, hey, this should have been us playing in the college football playoff? Let's show them. Or are they just going to be like, whatever. Let's just not get hurt. Get ready for next year. Obviously, Rocket Sanders, he's opted out. He's not playing. But South Carolina's quarterback, whose name I'm spacing on, is going to be playing. I have a handful of long shot guys I'm going to be looking to bet for the Heisman next year, and he's one of them. But yeah, if Illinois gets an early lead here, I would definitely look to bet South Carolina live. But this is one of the ones where I just need to see how the flow is. You need to see like how the motivation is for both of these teams. Because if you just kind of look, I definitely like your angle with Burt being Burt and getting an early lead here.
We've got the Baylor Bears taking on the LSU Tigers, a Big 12 team favored against an SEC team. Baylor laying 3.5, LSU plus 145 on the money line. Total set at 63.5. They're not anticipating any defense to be played at all in this game. What do you think, Unc?
Baylor was plus 3, and then news broke that all their guys are going to actually be playing. So now there's been a 6-point move in this line. So if you're looking to play Baylor, you're kind of late to the party. LSU offensive line, everyone's out. Rolling out people that have like 27 career snaps. So really not that much of an experienced unit. Also, Miranda, he's pissed. This is kind of his revenge spot against LSU. Flip side, how much time is Brian Kelly really spending going through this game? For him, it's next year recruiting, working the portal. So again, this is just going to be another pass for me.
Yeah, I don't really want to touch. Actually, you know what? I think that this might be a play given the fact that LSU's offensive line is completely depleted with this total being so big at 63.5. When you're questioning motivations, I think you naturally just go ahead and make the underplay at this this huge total. So I'm going to go under 63.5 in this game.
Yeah, I like that look.
We are on to the college football playoff games. We've got one tonight at 6:30 p.m. Penn State laying 11.5 against Boise State. Boise State plus 350 on the money line. Total set at 54.5. I am going to go ahead and say that number is too big. I'm playing Boise State. When you look at how they did against, comparable, competition with Oregon, Boise State held their own. I understand it's a different beast with Penn State and their defense, but I think the Boise State can kind of control things with how they can run the ball with Genty, and they can kind of not let this game run away from them and can keep it close if they don't win outright. So I'm taking Boise State plus the 11.5.
I did two things here. Give me Wallace over 41.5 receiving yards. He's the wide receiver for Penn State. Gone over every game this year but one. This total, the weakness of the Boise State's defense is the middle of the field and their secondary. I think they're going to look to take Warren away in the middle of the field. This is going to open up stuff for Wallace. Also, they're going to look to take Singleton away. So I think Wallace is in line for a great game. I think they're going to look to lean on him. Also, with that being said, Penn State really doesn't throw to their wide receivers. If this game does turn into a blowout, not really a blowout, how can I word this? Is Franklin going to not show a lot of stuff? You know what I mean? Is he just going to go crazy and do stuff that he normally wouldn't do? So that way, whoever they play next, have it be Notre Dame or Georgia, I believe, they have to guess a little bit. So I think this is going to be a big Wallace game. I'll take him over 41.5, just as done every game but one this year. And then I also play the over 53.5. Both these teams' defenses have some holes. Penn State has struggled stopping the run. Obviously, this is in line for a big game for Gentry. I think he's in line to have his over-under was 130 yards. They're going to lean on Gentry and this Boise State defense. When you look at what they've done, even in the Mountain West, they struggled to explode the tight end, the middle of the field. That's Warren. They struggled to stop running backs. That's Singleton. And they've struggled stopping star wide receivers. I just think this defense on both sides has too many holes. So I'm going to play the over 53.5 as well.
There we go. And if you're interested in playing the over, I mean, go ahead and jump on it at 53.5 because I'm seeing it at 54.5 some places. So early bird or whatever, that's saying. Moving on. We are on to New Year's Day, the next college football playoff game. Texas laying 12.5, Arizona State plus 400 on the money line. Total set at 51. Take it away, Unc. What do you think here?
I just did Stovall. He's a wide receiver for Arizona. I just did him over 31.5 over the last two games. Texas secondary, look, middle of the field. That's where he looked at to attack them. I think they're obviously going to look to take Statable away with Arizona's Tyson being out with the injury. You're not going to worry about these Arizona wide receivers. Stovall is a guy that can open stuff up. I think they're going to look to work him in over the last two games. So I just played his over 31.5. In terms of sides, if you told me this came down to if Texas blew them out, I'd believe you. If you told me this was a last-second field goal win by either one of these teams, I would believe you. This is one of those games I really have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not touching this game either. For one, I just personally have been kind of on the wrong side of Arizona State games all season. I mean, and this is a team that I saw struggle against Texas State early in the season. So I don't really know what to make out of Arizona State. So this is the one college football playoff game that I really don't have a strong opinion in. Would think Arizona State can cover, but I'm like you. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas kind of blows them out here. So it was a hard pass for me.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Ohio State taking on Oregon. Ohio State, the 2.5-point favorite. Oregon plus 110 on the money line. Total set at 55.5. I know it's hard to beat a team twice, especially when you just did it by 1 point at home earlier in the season. But I have so little faith in Ryan Day that I'm going to take the Oregon Ducks on the money line. What do you think?
Ohio State's winning the national title. I hate to say that. I think they're winning the national title. I think they're very motivated after that embarrassing loss to Michigan. Oregon's defense has been bleeding production. They can't stop anything. When you look at any team they've played that has been good, even Penn State, even Boise State earlier in the year, this defense just isn't generating stops. Ohio State's defense has been playing better each game. I don't trust their coach, the Oregon coach. I'm not a fan of Dan Lenny. I think he's a buffoon.
Yeah.
I think he's basically like Dan Campbell of the college game. You know what I mean? He gets a little bit too emotional, makes these decisions that, can affect his team. I don't trust Dylan Gabriel at all to step up and make any throws. Ohio State looking for revenge. And let's face it, they should have won that game. Like, if Howard gets down in time, they are making that field goal. They have the better special teams. They have the better field goal. Will Howard doesn't have any turnover-worthy plays since God knows when. He's been rocked. They have better wide receivers. They have a better running game. Revenge, better coaching staff. I think this is Ohio State. I got him. I played him at -2.
Last of this round's college football playoff games, we've got Notre Dame and Georgia. Right now, Georgia is a slim 1-point favorite. Notre Dame -105 on the money line. Total set at 45.5. Now, the big news is, of course, is that Carson Beck not playing in this game. He's having, I guess, UCL surgery, looking at the draft. Does that shake your confidence in Georgia at all? How do you feel about Marcus Freeman in big games? Where are you leaning in the Notre Dame game?
I did it. Georgia at the Tribal Casino, the Soaring Eagle. They have where I am right now. They have it as a pick at -115. So I just played a -115 here. Rewatching that Indiana game, there is a world with how that game started. Indiana gets out to that early lead. Indiana, multiple possessions inside Georgia's 40, not able to score any points. 2 possessions inside the 20 in the first half, 0 points. Notre Dame struggles stopping the run, namely inside zone. I think that we're going to see a heavy dose of inside zone from Georgia. We're going to see a lot more RPOs. We really don't know what we got with Stockton. He's supposed to be this electric passer and runner. Now you get 2 weeks to implement the offense for what he can do. I think Freeman is not going to be ready for these wrinkles coming at him. I don't like Freeman in big games. Don't trust him. Historically speaking, he struggles to cover. The only game he's covered in a ranked opponent matchup is that game against Texas A&M at the beginning of the year. Also, Georgia needed a bye. They're extremely tired. I think them getting a bye, getting a little fresher is going to help them. They're going to be a little bit more lively here. And I think this is going to be a big Etienne game. I think they're just going to lean on him a lot. I also bet is over 83.5 yards rushing.
I went ahead and the value was a little bit better to go ahead and on my side here and take Georgia -1, get it -110 versus the -115 on the money line. So please win by 2. I'm with you. I think they get a heavy dose of the running game. I also think that this is a good game for the under because I think that you get a heavy dose of the running game out of Notre Dame as well. But I'm going to keep it simple here and stick with Georgia -1.
Okay.
We've got just a couple of bowl games left. We're going to hit them all here to get you your fix, you junkies, before the end of college football bowls and the next round. And don't worry, let's make some money. After we get the last of these bowls in, we will have round robins. January 2nd, Duke, 17-point dog against Ole Miss. They're +600 on the money line, total set at 51.5. How much of Ole Miss is actually playing?
Well, I'm reading that everyone from Ole Miss is playing. This is the thing that I don't understand at all. Is it going to be a Cam Ward situation? So for those of you that don't remember the name Jake Butt, let me tell you about Jake Butt. Jake Butt was the consensus #1 tight end. He was going to be a first-round pick for Michigan. He went out and he played in the Gator Bowl, I don't know, some bowl down in Florida. He suffered an ACL tear. He went from a first-round pick to, I think he was a 5th or 6th round pick. And
that was the game with the Jadeveon Clowney hit, too.
No, they played Florida State. That was when Jimbo Fisher was there. And it just, how can I work? It was just brutal. Like the kid's whole life trajectory changed. Now, if I'm in that position, I'm not going to play. If a kid that I coached when he was a kid was in that position, I would tell him not to play. If my son, I would tell him not to play. I don't understand why any of these kids would play and change their situation on life-changing money. Murphy's out for Duke. This game all comes down to this. Can Duke's defensive line get stops? That's what it comes down to. Maybe look to do an Ole Miss first half play. But the one thing that has been consistent all year is Ole Miss has been one of the best under teams all year. Do we play them? I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just sitting this bad boy out.
That is a hard pass as well. Moving on to January 3rd, this Friday, we've got the battle for the state of Texas, Texas Forever Street. We've got North Texas, Texas State. Texas State laying 13.5 here. North Texas plus 375. Total set at 61.5. And all I got to say is the disrespect to my North Texas Mean Green. Tell me, should I feel disrespected here? Because I feel like I should and should take the points here with the Mean Green.
So I hate to go on this tangent about Friday Night Lights, but I loved how Riggins called Saracen 7. What's up, 7?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I respect that, man. I respect that. Am I crazy here to kind of like the under? I mean, both these teams offensively are going to have a ton of opt-outs. Morris is transferring to Virginia. He's opting out. He's the starting quarterback for North Texas. Oh my God, who's the quarterback? I'm spacing on it. McLeod. He said he is going to get ready for the East-West Shrine game instead of playing in this. For Texas State, both these defensive sucks, but when you have second stringers out there playing offensively on the offensive line, are they going to be able to get enough projection to do anything? I don't know what to do in this game. This is one of those ones I am doing absolutely nothing.
I'm taking North Texas in the points. All right. We've got also on the 3rd, Minnesota, Virginia Tech. Minnesota laying 7.5. Virginia Tech plus 240 on the money line. Total set at 42.5. Who's in? Who's not? Which side are we taking on?
Vatek, both DBs are gone, but Minnesota really doesn't throw the ball. Minnesota, what do they like to do? They like to run the ball. Their star tackle is out. PJ Fleck, historically good, 5-0 ATS in bowl games at Minnesota. Do you trust a Minnesota offense to win with margin? Personally, I don't. But this Virginia Tech team has done nothing but let me down all year. So I am just going to sit back and, I hate to sound like a broken record, do nothing.
Yeah, this game feels like a hard pass. It's not like anyone's going to be watching this on the January 3rd. We didn't talk about, we think left this out when we were talking about what we were going to cover, but I'm sure your opinion might not exist for this game because I'm not sure I have one that exists. But real quick, Buffalo and Liberty on Saturday. Buffalo a 2.5-point favorite, Liberty plus 115 on the money line, total set at 51. Do you have any quick thoughts? I kind of like this Buffalo team to maybe cover against Liberty, but no hard opinions here.
I took Buffalo when it opened at plus 2.5. Now with Buffalo laying points required to win by margin, don't trust them at all. Liberty, we don't even know who's playing. Chadwell. So Arizona State's coach said, look, if you're opting out, I give two shits. If you're opting out and you want to play, I want you out there. Caldwell has been like, yo, if you're testing the portal, F you, get off my field.
Right.
And there's all these reports coming out that the Liberty guys are upset they're here at the Bahamas Bowl. And he's just like, well, you shouldn't have lost 3 games then. So what is their motivation? Look, I think Buffalo at plus 2.5, I really like. When you require Buffalo to win with margin, I don't like. So right now, I wouldn't do anything.
All right. Well, it has hit that time in the show where we put together our most juicy betting morsels into round robins for the people. The round robins that make let's make some money 69. So happy. I've got a big ridiculous round robin here. which is a lot bigger than I would normally play. I think I might play it as 3-teamers here. A $1 bet would be like a $20 round robin. I'm going to go with North Texas plus 13.5. I'm going to go under 63.5 in the Baylor LSU game. I'm going to take Georgia -1. I'm going to go Illinois first half money line. I'm going to go Boise State plus 11.5 and the Oregon Ducks on the money line. What about you, Unc?
I did Wallace from Penn State just to score a tutty at plus 210. I did Ohio State -2. And look, maybe I'm cheating, but you know what? I love basketball. Give me Richmond on the money line plus 125, UAB on the money line plus 188. Nice little 4-teamer right there.
I love it. I love it. Any parting words before we say goodbye to these folks before the end of the year?
It has been a great show. Appreciate doing work with you. Thank you for everyone tuning in. I don't even know, when is the semifinals? The semifinals are weird, aren't they? Midweek?
It's something like that, yeah.
So be on the lookout. Chase, myself, and Jim will, I'm sure, tweet out when we're gonna go. And thanks for being along, and appreciate all you guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot for watching. We'll have college basketball heating up soon, so don't worry, you'll still get your fix. And we miss you, Jim. We can't wait for you to get out from your short.
What he's doing right now? Do you think he's just? I could see Jim being the guy on the cruise that passes out with a drink in his hand, just laying by the pool.
I had the exact same image in my head, quite honestly.
And like somehow a burning cigarette just dangling out of his mouth, just refusing to fall.
Just with the long granny ash. Yeah. It's almost completely ash. Yeah. I think he's like going just like full like pre-diabetic with like mixed, like pina coladas and stuff like that.
I respect that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we miss Jim, but Jim will be back probably by the time we do our next show. So don't you worry. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year. We will catch you when we catch you. See you then.